Hi, I'm Monica Cameron, and I enjoy making art because I feel like it's something that really helps to relieve my stress. And I also like it because I don't have to be like thinking about it, but I'm also actively engaging my brain at the same time. And I think that that's really epic. Um, some tools I enjoy using to make my art would be like my camera for photography. For calligraphy and lettering, I like to use like brush pens, markers, other pens. I also use like an Apple Pencil and an iPad if I'm doing like digital stuff. Um, I would describe the art I make with the word eclectic because I think it's kind of all over the place. I don't really have like a certain style. It's just kind of there. Yeah, that's all. How do my faith and my art connect? With calligraphy and lettering, I'd say about like 90% of the stuff that I letter has like Bible verses and like faith related quotes in them. And so I think that that's like a good way to connect like my faith into my art. And I also like to make like cards for friends or like random strangers. I'll put like Bible verses in them and I'll just hand them out or like put them in cars. Yeah. Um, Subjects that interest me in my art would be like with photography, I really like to take pictures of the night sky. I think that's really fun, and I really like to do star trails. I think those are so fun because I'll take like a 3 or more hour long picture and it'll track the movement of the star across the sky, and it's really fun. And how I've grown as an artist at Southwest, I've never really considered myself an artist. I just kind of like dabble, but like um with photography uh I didn't really know how to use a camera before Southwest, but then like freshman year with photography one class I learned how to use it, and I thought that that was super cool and a skill that I've like carried on and like grown in. And now taking photography too as a senior, I think that that's been really cool to see my growth, like from the pictures I took freshman year to the pictures I'm taking now, and I think that that's really cool. I also, with like calligraphy and lettering, um I used it more as a technique to like memorize Bible verses freshman year, and now I like use it to make cards, and I think that that's really fun, and I've gotten a lot better at it. And you didn't notice I painted the wall behind me, and that's kind of like a new thing that I'm learning right now. I don't ever paint. It's not really something I do, but I just kind of decided like during quarantine I wanted to learn. And so that's been a really fun skill to try to learn during all of this.
Okay, so for my last photography assignment, I chose to do the reflections photo. This will be my best work because I feel like I actually got really good photo because I went downtown and went to the cities, and like in one of the examples it showed a guy doing his examples in the city. So I thought, oh, like if I could get some reflective photos in Minneapolis that could look really good, like off of the water, or like I also saw this thing on Instagram where like you pour like some water onto like a flat surface and then you take a picture upside down of the reflection of the water and of the actual subject. So my subject, that moving into my subject will be just the city of Minneapolis. I just went down there, took some photos, took as many reflection photos I could do, just as many photos in general as I could take, just because I've been wanting to go and take those urban pictures of the city. My theme for the project, it's just like it kind of just said, just like urban, kind of cityscape, kind of that kind of theme. What I did, my process for the workflow is basically I went to the city. I just took a whole bunch of pictures. I tried to find as many places where I could get reflections as possible. I even, in some of the photos, I photoshopped some reflections so it would kind of look a little bit cooler. What really inspired me to go and do this is, for one, I've been wanting to do just a photo shoot of the city for a long time, and another reason is I've just been up in my cabin for a while, kind of removed from any city, so it was a good excuse to get to the city. So yeah, that was a big reason I think why I did it. So I just went down to the city, I took the pictures, got the reflections. One of my sources I use, just obviously my camera. I went alone, which is, I usually don't go on shoots alone, so it was kind of cool just to go on a shoot and just do what I need to do, get it done alone. I use that water bottle tactic where you pour out the water and you get the picture of that I saw on Instagram. I just think these photos turned out really good because I haven't been able just to shoot alone and I really could like focus in what I really wanted to get, like compositionally wise, and like using my manual settings, and just I didn't have to like wait, because a lot of times I've been taking pictures of other people, like the subjects in their space, or like the portraits we did in class that one time. So yeah, a lot of times I just had to kind of go at other people's paces. So this time it was nice to just be able to go at my own pace. Just my closing statements. I really love this photography class. I think I missed like 1 or 2 shoots, but I ended up turning those in. But I mean, all of the assignments I had really fun doing. I really tried a lot of new stuff in this class, and I just got to know some people I didn't get to know, and got to shoot some people I probably would never got to shoot. And it really, the biggest thing I learned, I guess, is just how to use my manual camera a lot, because I feel like before I was using a lot of just auto, and I think I knew in the back of my head that's not, I mean, at the end of the day, photography is photography, but to be a real photographer and really know what you're doing, you got to use your manual settings and know what happens if you up the ISO or up the aperture and the shutter speed and all that kind of stuff. And just like that one, I forget what it was called, but that one assignment we did with like the moving cars and all that kind of stuff, like that was just so beneficial for my photography experience, to know how to do those kind of things and to get the long exposure shots. Like the other night I did a star trail. I did star trail photography, and just knowing like how to use my exposure and how to use my shutter speed and all that, like it helped so much just to get that good of a photo, and using my ISO so it didn't come out grainy. So I just want to say thank you to you, Miss Piskey, for everything you did for us in class, and to all the classmates for helping us. And yeah, I'm excited that this right here is my last assignment as a high school student, so I'm excited to turn this in.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron, a current sophomore at SWCHS Christian. I enjoy making art because it's an instant stress reliever for me, and it's a way for me to release my emotions. I really like to draw, I like to use pencil, colored pencil, anything like that. And I also like to use acrylic paints a lot because the colors are so vibrant in acrylic paints, and I think that that is just, I don't know, there's just something so great about that. I would describe the art I make as either totally random, like this mural I painted behind me, like I just kind of let my brain go, or really emotional and meaningful. I would say I like to incorporate emotion and emphasis on feelings and my subjects. My faith connects with my art because art for me is a way of journaling. When I do art, it's a way of giving to God my emotions and saying, here, I'm drawing this for you, and this is how I'm feeling, this is where I'm at, and this is how I can describe it, because I can't always describe it in words. The subjects that interest me in art are people and human connection and human experience. I like to have a meaning behind a lot of the art that I create, whether it's a landscape or a portrait. I like to have some sort of background behind it. And I like to draw my friends a lot, actually. I like to get pictures from their Instagrams or just ask them for pictures and just draw them, because it's just really, it's soothing for some reason, and I like to capture their happy moments. I've grown as an artist at Southwest Christian through the constant integration of faith. I think it's amazing that we use art as a form of worship, always. Every project we do, it's how does this connect to your faith? And I think that that is amazing because it's a way for me to grow closer to God while also growing closer as an artist. And that's just awesome. Okay.
Hi there, my name is Lisa Johnson, and I am currently a sophomore at Southwest Christian High School. I enjoy making art because it's something that relaxes me and allows me just to be creative and spontaneous. And the tools that I enjoy making my art with is just a camera. I used to do a little bit of painting, but that's long gone, and now I have moved on to photographs. I would describe the art that I make as interesting. There are some pieces that everybody would like, and then there's some pieces that only I would like and only I find beauty in. And so it's really just kind of a mix. And my faith and my art connect because a lot of the photos that I do take are of nature or of the sky. And every time that I'm taking photos of stars, I'm just reminded about how small I am and how big God is, and just how good God is, and the wonderful creation that He put on the earth for us to enjoy. So I'm really thankful for God when I am taking these kind of photos. And also, a lot of the times, some of the photos that I take are of people, and so when I'm taking photos of people, I'm also reminded that God just made everyone beautiful. And yeah, it makes me really happy. And then the topics that interest me in my art are photographs of either architecture, the sky, or just nature in general. I take a lot of photos of the moon and the stars. And then architecture-wise, I really enjoy old-timey buildings or houses. I find a lot of beauty in that. And then nature, basically just anything around me. A lot of the photos that I take recently have been of like blossoming trees. We have this really pretty white tree in our yard, and then a bunch of our neighbors have these big pink trees, and so I've really enjoyed being able to take photos of those since it is spring and they are blooming now. And that's about it for me. Thank you, Mrs. Piskey, again for having a great year and for teaching me to love photography almost as much as you do.
Hello, it's Mr. Haig here, and today I'm going to be showcasing for you an exquisite piece of work that was bestowed to me from one of the greatest potters here at Southwest, Mr. Ollie. Ollie made for me a wonderful samurai matcha tea bowl. Some things that I really like about this bowl is its size. It's able to handle a substantial amount of tea, not too much, not too little, and it fits perfectly in both hands. It allows for a nice easy sip. The lip of the bowl is not jagged or harsh, but smooth, means that it is giving, and it gives the nourishment and caffeine from the tea right to the lip. So very nourishing edge there to this tea bowl. One other thing that I like is the face of the bowl. Here we have one smooth, strong brush stroke, just going across the tea bowl almost like a samurai sword. One slice. So here we have one slice of paint on the tea bowl. It's very beautiful. This is only going to appreciate and value. The craftsmanship is something that I have really never seen before. And so it's very practical in its use, and it also looks very nice sitting on a shelf. It's really a conversation piece. It just lends itself to so many different avenues of discussion. And so this is the tea bowl here, and I love it. I would give it 11 out of 10. Thank you, Sir Ollie, for your bowl.
Hello, my name is Ihana. I am a freshman right now, the class of 2023, and I am here today to talk about art. The first thing I would like to say is that I absolutely love art because I think that at least visual art is the visual expression of the emotions that we have when we perceive the world around us, which means that art is very subjective and that it can mean a different thing for every person, even if it's the same piece, and I think that's really cool. First, I would like to say that I enjoy art a lot, mostly because it helps me to process. So if I am really stressed, or if I'm tired, or if I just want a chance to relax, then I'll just come into my room and do some art. And it really helps me to process my thoughts, process my emotions, and can give me some time to just talk to God and think through things. And I think that's really important that everyone takes the time out of their day to do that, because otherwise we can get really overwhelmed because we're just human, and that's okay. One of the best things about art is that it's super versatile, which means that there's a lot of different things you can do with it. So one of those things is that there's all these different kinds of mediums, which is basically something that you use to create art. So there's mediums like acrylic paint and watercolor, pottery, charcoal, pencils, all those different things are mediums. My favorite medium personally is gouache, which is a really thick pigmented watercolor type paint. This is an example of a painting that I did with gouache. It's just kind of this mountain landscape. And I call it vertical landscape actually because it was supposed to be portrait, but it's not, and that's okay. Art that I make is something that really reflects my personality, in my opinion. I know that there's a lot of artists out there who can create art that is completely separate from who they are. And I think that's really cool because they're really good at what they do. But personally, I cannot. All the art that I create is really reflective of who I am as a person. So as another example, this is a piece of art that I finished. It's these faces and this line art. And I really like it. I think the line art and cubism is something that's really fascinating. Picasso's pretty cool. And so yeah, that's just an example of how the art that I create reflects who I am. And I think that's true for a lot of people. The way that we show art in our lives is usually really reflective of who we are as people. My faith and the art that I create really connect with each other. For example, when I said earlier that art helps me process, it's so true. And I think that it's a really God-given gift that I have to create beautiful art. When I want to just talk to God, like he's my friend or something, I can come upstairs and I can paint. And I can just kind of ramble on and he'll always be listening. And I think that's a really comforting thing to know. So it just has helped to build my faith because I know that I have been given this gift because God wanted me to use it to bring other people closer to him. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I want to create my life into a piece of artwork that is reflective of Him, so that other people will be drawn towards it and come closer to Him, so that we can all go up to heaven and have a fun art party or something. Topics that I really love about art, one of them would be art history. I think that art history is one of the coolest things out there to learn about, because all of this art that our ancestors thousands of years ago were creating was so sophisticated in their own right. And as the timeline of history keeps going forward, we need to look back at that and see that what was in our past is something that we can build on. And I think that same principle applies to artists. We can look back at all the famous artists of the Renaissance period and the hieroglyphics and see those and use them as a building block for our own personal art. I think also that controversial art, like art that causes debate, is really interesting, and usually that's art that says a really obvious message. Like there's art about all sorts of topics. There's actually one of my favorite artists, his name is Banksy. He's a graffiti artist that you've probably heard of. All of his art is really controversial, and it's really beautiful, and it sends a message, and I think that's really cool that art can do that. I actually have a piece that is about climate change. It's this woman holding a sign on a paper bag, because I think that climate change is something real, but that's just something that I'm passionate about. And I think that in that way, art can help people convey a message that they want to, and it can be anything you want to say. If you want to say we are slowly going to be invaded by aliens, then you can do that. You can do what you want with art, and that's the beauty of it. The last thing I would just like to say is that art is so wonderful because it is from God. He is the creator of all beautiful things, and He has granted each one of us a small portion of that beauty-creating personality trait, in a sense, to use it to turn our lives into a piece of art for Him. Like I said earlier, if you have your life turned into a piece of art, if you are pursuing music, if you're pursuing a certain sport or a certain set of academics, and that is what you are doing, and you are pursuing it to the full potential that God has given you, then your life has now become this piece of art that is shining, and other people will be drawn to that, because that's just the way we are. We are drawn to bright objects. That's just science. And so I think that if we can turn our lives into pieces of art through God's hands, then we will be able to draw more people to Him. And in that way, we are fulfilling our mission here on earth. And that's something that I'm really proud of as a Christian. I think it's this ability that God's given us, and that we should all pursue that. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful summer once you're out of quarantine. I hope you enjoy. I hope that you are able to find your art, and that you are able to pursue it, and that you can find peace in yourself, and you can have peace in God. Bye.